So we now have next coming up another brand which is iconically well known for a lot of the exciting content they produce, Coca-Cola. We have Pratik Thakar, who's the Vice President of Creative and Content Excellence in Asia Pacific, interviewed by Fergus Hay, the Managing Director of Social at Ogilvy in Asia. A round of applause.
Thank you very much. For 125 years, Coke has been the world's most iconic brand. It has turned Father Christmas from being a green bearded man into Santa Claus, being a red bearded man that has delivered presents to kids all over the world. It has given Coke to soldiers in the Second World War that brought Coke to Africa, Asia, and Europe. It has become part of popular culture, and that is because it is the world's most strongest and creative brand. Pratik Thakar is the head of creative and content excellence in Asia Pacific. His job is to continue to make it the world's most iconic brand in Asia and keep putting it into popular culture. No brand does that better than Coke in Asia at the moment. I think it is the most pioneering social content creator, and it creates content that is a good example for all of our other brands of how to engage with our consumers in a socially enabled world. So Pratik is going to talk to us about how Coke have been doing that and some of the lessons that we can all learn. So please put your hands together with a big round of applause for Pratik Thakar.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Look, sharing comes pretty naturally at Coca-Cola. We like people to share, and that's what I'm doing right now. What I'm going to talk about it is the kind of culture we build. We don't call Coca-Cola as the largest FMCG company or beverage company, or we call it one of the best creative marketing company. And that's where the whole DNA comes, Coca-Cola DNA, where you turn Santa Claus into red or create something iconic. 85 years, 90 years back, someone patented the bottle, the shape of the bottle. So those kind of stuff, and that time when we wanted to create iconic bottle of Coca-Cola, the brief was two-line brief. One, when this bottle someone touches in dark, they need to recognize it's Coca-Cola bottle. And when this bottle is broken, someone looks at the pieces of the bottle and they recognize that it's a Coca-Cola bottle. And that's such a nice brief, right? It's such a nice, creative, iconic brief. So that's the culture. And that's where Coca-Cola thrives. And it's a playground. And that's where I wanted to talk about like how we see content. We see content as playground, how we can tell our stories. A few years back, we put together this platform within Coca-Cola system to build this culture of storytelling, culture of creating something which stands for something special, something which matters, something which works for society, something which works for now, for some basically live content. Another thing we have put together globally is 70-10-20-10 principle. 70% what we do is basically to market our products and brands. 20% what we do is something new to Coca-Cola company. And 10% what we do is something new to the world. So, and this is part of everyone's KPI. So it's part of my KPI, it's part of my boss's KPI and his boss's KPI. So it's not something hanging as the poster in the company office. It's something which is part of the culture. And that's what makes this system or culture turns it into playground. And that's where when I was listening to Jack this morning, I was thinking that, hey, he could be part of our playground. He could be part of our culture because he wants to play with content. He wants to play with big brands. And that's where this is the perfect canvas. He can paint whatever he wants to paint. And that's where I want to be on this stage and invite you guys that if you want to be part of, draw something on this canvas, then that's where we invite people and to this playground called Coca-Cola. This is the best place for us to play with it. Now, globally, we have created a lot of great campaigns, and it's kind of a lot of stuff has done. What we wanted to talk about here is like, how do we make it happen in Asia Pacific? How do we make it happen across each part of Asia Pacific? And that was kind of a big challenge most of the clients, most of the companies, agencies, everyone facing. And I wanted to give you a few examples. Another thing we wanted to talk about, like a cultural leadership. When you do create content, when you are looking at creating leadership in terms of your share of voice and share of brand, you need that kind of, you need to talk to the culture and not just to the target audience. And that's where Coca-Cola has done a lot of stuff. One of the examples, the way we are working with YouTube, we are giving a playground. Basically, we are asking YouTubers to play with Coca-Cola products and create content, and then come up with something which we don't know. We don't know. And that's kind of a risk we are taking. And so, that's what is working for us. The other thing is provoking social media buzz and liquid, linked, and live stories. So let me explain. When we say liquid, basically something which spreads on its own, right? Linked, which we know like more integrated. And live, something which is more topical. So we have a global system where we talk about liquid and linked. We added for Asia Pacific live, because if you talk something now, what's happening in Hong Kong or what's happening in this room, that becomes more relevant to everyone. And that's where we give a lot of emphasis to live. Sometime back, like 4 months back, there was some riots in Singapore and on Serangoon Road. And then we wanted to play a role in creating harmony, like happiness, good cultural connection between two different societal culture. And we said, what do we do there? We created content. We created content that is purely for social media, and it became a huge hit. Can we play a first video? And this is just 4 months back we created. And that's for the topic, what something was happening in Singapore.
Night time, I see my wife, my children, everything, my heart cry.
I cannot enjoy father, mother. Always go family help. I no help.
I miss my family more.
Construction workers in Singapore, they're doing a great job.
It makes us Singaporeans think about what they've really been doing for us all this while.
It would be better if we could, interact with them more, be a little bit more appreciative of what they do for us.
Thank you for helping us build our buildings. First time I see helicopter. This one very nice. I see all men run, they take Coca-Cola. Thank you for hard work. Yeah, I think more than 2,000 plus workers. So everybody getting Coke. We are very, very happy because we thinking still somebody think about us.
So you know this, is it a cultural leadership? Yes. Is it something Coke kind of brand play a role in societal tensions during some kind of issue when society is, we are not selling Coca-Cola here, we are not telling that buy one, get one free. We are trying to build a connection between societal sections and that kind of stuff works for us, for our brand, for our business. It created amazing connection between us and Singapore government because we were helping. We were the few brands who went there and said we want to play a role in doing things, something which we're supposed to do and we should do. So, and if not Coke, who else? So that's that kind of a Coca-Cola, if you see, it's one of the most optimistic platform in the world. What we call is stubborn optimism. And that's where it's like, what is Coke is basically yes on the face of no. And that's what exactly you deliver. And I'll give you another example. Right now, I'm from India, and I know right now, India and Pakistan, as we speak, there's a lot of firing going on at the border. I'm ashamed of that. My mother is born in Karachi, so I get it. I totally get it. But we wanted to tell that story to the rest of the world using Coca-Cola as a platform. Can we play a second video?
The relationship between India and Pakistan is one that has seen a lot of lows.
It's stressful, it's tense. It seems it's not improving and it's getting worse.
It's only been 60 years that we have been apart. Before that, we were living harmoniously together.
I think all the strife would go away if you took away the barbed wires in the middle of the two countries.
It saddens me that we have this neighbor that we can't even go visit.
They have this perception which they've been ingrained in their heads that that's the bad guy. But when they actually meet them, they realize, you know what, he's just like me.
Mainly because there's no communication. They're near us, but we have no access to them. And it's sad, because together I think we would do wonders.
Creating an environment where young people can exchange ideas, thoughts, gestures, and take away that communication gap that exists.
If I have any opportunity to go to India, I'll surely go there.
The whole idea of actually touching hands, it's like communicating with each other without words, and that action speaks louder than anything else.
This is what we are supposed to do, right? We are going to take minor steps so that we are going to solve bigger issues.
It is more about, how similar we are as opposed to how different we are.
Togetherness, humanity, this is what we want. More and more exchange.
So you can see that those are the topical. It's a prime example of live, creating content which is relevant to what's happening now, becoming part of the discussion, what is going on there on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. And those kind of stuff we need to get into and keep creating those kind of content. And that's why if you see, there is a lot of technology. Actually, idea for this came from Chicago. It got implemented in India and Pakistan. And the technology of using this vending machine, which two people from two different places can connect, it actually came from Sydney. So a lot of technology goes, but it's not selling technology for technology's sake. Same way, drones. Drone creates kind of a story interesting, and it reaches there somewhere on the 30th floor of a construction site. But it's not about drone. It's about a story of whatever matters to the culture and people and society there. So that's what we are doing. Would love to know how you feel about it. Would love to know if you don't like something. If you would love to know if you think we can improve on something. Definitely, Coca-Cola is a great platform, as I mentioned, but not necessarily we are perfect and we know everything. That's not the thing. We are learning. We are experimenting. We are failing quite a lot, and that's part of the game. So that's it from me. I know Fergus wanted to ask some question.
I wanted to put you on the spot in front of everyone. Great, thank you, Pratik. Pratik, some of the films that you showed are really powerful social stories, right? So uniting India and Pakistan is clearly a very big moral issue and question. And similarly, the migrant workers issues in Singapore caused quite a lot of press in the local market. What do you think the threshold is for a brand to be able to talk credibly about those kind of big societal issues? When do we go too much to one side?
What we feel is, yes, we need a right tone. We need that humble approach. We are not telling what people to do. It's like we are just sharing our perspective and building kind of a collective voice. So that's what, whether it's a Coca-Cola or any great brand can take it in different market. Like in market like China, there are local brands who have that kind of credibility. Coca-Cola has that kind of credibility or authority globally, but every market has those kind of a culturally strong brand. And they have that kind of credibility. A lot of brands in Singapore and Malaysia, I look at our competition. I think our competition Nestle has great brands. So those brands needs to go and play a much larger role in the society.
And I suppose, interestingly, what you're saying is Coke don't lecture people about the moral issues, but you demonstrate what you guys believe in. So you didn't tell India and Pakistan people to get closer together, you showed how they could do it.
Right,
So it's the behavior.
Yeah, and that becomes kind of an interest. Once you start doing that, you get call and say, hey, this Ukraine, this Malaysia airline plane crashed there, and said, hey, we have an idea, we want to come and talk to you. And you said, yeah, and it's about bringing Ukraine and Russia and everyone together. I said, yeah. So you one side you question yourself that, hey, you are a Coca-Cola company, you're not United Nations. But the other side you feel, wow, it's working. It's working. And that's why they are coming and sharing. And that's what is the power. So it's not ROI or something like how many hits or millions hits we got. But if it's working, you will know. Yeah. And this is a real example. We don't know what to do there. We want to do something there also. We want to do something with Israel and Palestine. But we need to figure it out that, and it's good that you be creating that kind of traction.
The Coca-Cola company is famous for doing really big, iconic films that get into popular culture, and you've shown some really great films, which Ogilvy did a couple of those. Plug. But also, that's not the only thing that you do, right? And you have these listening centers that have set up across ASEAN in particular that are constantly monitoring social activity and finding trends to produce all sorts of content. Can you talk just a little bit about what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So when we publish, we also need to listen. First, actually, we need to listen, understand, publish. And I know before me, a gentleman was discussing, and he was talking about kind of a content factory. So what we created a collective in the region, across China, Japan, ASEAN, all the markets, 19 of them in Asia Pacific, where people actually listening what's trending, what people are talking about us. If they are talking about some problem with our products, or they are unhappy with our products, or they are happy with some of our communication, we need to address everything, whether positive or negative. And that's where we are getting very, very close to every day, every second conversation. And that's where we are linking some of the dots from what is getting trended in let's say, in Hong Kong versus what's happening in Ho Chi Minh City. And that's really helping, because you cannot publish unless you are connected. And yeah.
And then final question for me. What do you think is going to be your content agenda over the next couple of years? What is it that the Coca-Cola company is looking to do that is really different?
Handover. So there are two things we want to do. One is that we want to do more content which is liquid, linked, and live. So live, topically relevant stuff, more spontaneous work. Another is handing over this brand to people, to Zach, to creative community. And that's what, it's a huge thing for us. It's a risky game, but that's what we need to do. So it belongs to people, this brand, and we need to give it to them and let them create things for us.
I think that's just a wonderfully brave move from Coca-Cola. It's a brand that has cherished its design aesthetic and its brand equity more than any other brand over the last 100 years. That's what's made you guys so powerful. So if you're, as a brand, is ready to embrace the creative community, to take charge of it a little bit in the social space, then any brand has got the right to do it. So congratulations to Coke for doing that. Are there any questions out in the audience for Pratik while we have him on stage?
Hi, it's Elisa from Red Ant. Thank you very much. I have a question about failure. It's really bold and humble to hear you talk about how you fail often and you fail again and again. And as a topic is about ROI today, how does a company get to a point where that's okay to say in the boardroom that you've failed, you've tested and learned? Because I think some of the smaller companies are still so focused on kind of granular ROI detail that prevents them from doing bolder, braver things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, if I give you example of failures, I'll end up spending 1 week here. Yeah, it's necessary, right? It's necessary to try out, fail, and come up with something. I don't have. Is this overtime or am I?
It's just the bomb ticking. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So I just wanted to. I have another example, which is name on the bottle. We put names on the bottle, which actually came from Asia Pacific, from Australia, and it has gone to all the part of Asia, then Europe, and then now North America is doing. So actually this worked the other way around. Usually content and ideas comes from our US market.
And which agency did you work with on that idea, Pratik?
Oh, agency starting from Ogi. Yeah. My English is very bad, so I can't pronounce that agency's name.
Ogilvy.
So, Ogilvy helped us come up with that idea, and we had lots of debate inside the company that to remove the brand name. They came and they said, remove your brand name. And it's kind of it's so bold, it's so brave, and it's so risky. Because you are so proud of your brand name and identity and everything, and they said just remove and put everyone's name. So that's a great example of taking risk. And we know that that idea was discussed somewhere else globally, like few years back, and it got killed. And this time, agency and our team and everyone was they wanted to take this risk. So that's a great example. And this campaign, do we have time for that one example?
Unfortunately, we've got about 30 seconds.
So we can send it to you. So we can't show Ogilvy example now. So basically, that's the answer. That it is that campaign when we launched that campaign in any market across the world, and we have launched in almost all markets. Business goes up like this, and the day campaign gets done, it's like and it's a perfect example of communication working, innovation, content working for business, and delivering results.
And also choosing one market to test it first. It worked in Australia, and then you rolled it out across.
Yeah, so we have those incubators and pilots. That's what's going on. I do a lot of those incubators across Asia Pacific. So you just try fast, fail fast. If it works, you scale it up.
Pratik, thank you so much. We would love to hear from you all day, but we have to pull you off. Thank you, Pratik Thakar.